Good morning, beloved child of God. As you open your eyes to this new day, remember that it is not an accident that you are alive, breathing, and here in this sacred moment, because the Lord has chosen to keep you standing so that you may see His goodness in the land of the living. The weight of financial struggle may press against your chest and make you feel as though you cannot breathe freely, but the Spirit of God is here to remind you that He has already prepared provision for you. He is Jehovah Jireh, the God who provides, the one who does not allow His children to be abandoned or forsaken in their time of need, but who comes rushing in with answers that the world cannot predict. Psalm 34:10 says, "The lions may grow weak and hungry, but those who seek the Lord lack no good thing, and this is the promise that will carry you through this day. You are not forgotten, you are not overlooked, and you are not abandoned, for your Father in heaven is watching closely over every detail of your life." Think of the widow in 2 Kings 4, who cried out to Elisha in desperation, knowing that creditors were threatening to take her sons into slavery as repayment for her debts. Yet God in His mercy turned her little jar of oil into an endless supply, until every debt was cancelled and she had more than enough to live on. This story is not ancient history, but a prophetic sign for you today, that what little you have in your hands is more than enough when blessed by God's power. You may think your resources are too small, your paycheck too limited, and your bank account too empty, but in the hands of the Almighty, scarcity is transformed into abundance. Every prayer you whisper today is like pouring oil into a vessel that will not run dry, because God multiplies what is surrendered to Him. Lift up your little before the Lord and expect His greatness to flow through it. Remember Joseph, the young man who was betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and left to suffer in prison. Yet in a single divine moment, God raised him to stand before Pharaoh and placed the keys of provision in his hands for all of Egypt and beyond. What looked like years of hardship became the setup for a breakthrough that not only sustained Joseph, but saved nations from famine. If God could turn a pit into a palace, then He can turn your overdraft into overflow, your unpaid bills into testimonies of debt cancellation, and your nights of worry into mornings of peace. Genesis 50:20 reminds us of Joseph's own words, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Your financial struggle is not the end of your story, but the soil for a greater miracle. The same hand that lifted Joseph is lifting you today. Consider also Naomi, who returned home bitter and broken after losing her husband and sons, believing that her life had been stripped of hope, yet God in His kindness connected her to Ruth, whose faithfulness became the doorway to restoration and blessing. Through Ruth, Naomi's family line was not only restored, but became part of the very lineage of Christ Jesus, showing us that what looks like financial ruin or personal loss can actually become the foundation for generational blessing. The same God who rewrote Naomi's bitter story into one of sweetness is rewriting your story of financial hardship into one of abundance. You may think it is too late, too hopeless, or too broken, but God specializes in redeeming what looks impossible. As you lift your prayer this morning, trust that He is orchestrating connections, relationships, and opportunities that will turn your lack into overflow. David, the shepherd boy who became king, knew what it meant to stand before giants with nothing but a sling and a stone, yet he proclaimed boldly in Psalm 23:1, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." He declared this truth even before he saw thrones, palaces, or riches, because his confidence was not in what he possessed, but in who was guiding him. Today, let David's faith stir your heart to declare the same. Even if your debts remain on the table, your bills remain unpaid, and your account looks empty, you shall not want, because the Lord Himself is your shepherd, your provider, and your keeper. Every giant of financial lack will fall just as Goliath fell before David, because God fights for His people. Think also of Daniel, who prayed faithfully even when it placed him in danger, and when cast into the lion's den, he discovered that the God of heaven is able to shut the mouths of lions. Debt may roar at you like a ferocious beast, threatening to consume your peace and devour your faith, but God is silencing its roar this morning. He is closing the mouths of creditors, removing threats of shame, and opening doors that you cannot open on your own. Daniel walked out of the den unharmed, and you too will walk out of this season untouched by financial destruction. The Lord who delivered Daniel is delivering you today, giving you favor with kings and peace in the midst of chaos. Peter, weary after a long night of catching nothing, listened to Jesus' instruction to cast his net once more, and the result was an overwhelming catch so great that his boat could not contain it. This is the same God you are praying to this morning, the one who can turn fruitless effort into miraculous abundance with one word. You may feel like Peter, exhausted from trying, but the Lord is whispering, "Cast again, believe again, trust again, because the harvest is waiting just beneath the surface of obedience." Luke 5:6 reminds us, when they had done so, they caught such a large number of fish that their nets began to break. This is the kind of blessing God is preparing for you, a breakthrough so great it overflows your capacity. Beloved, do not forget the feeding of the 5,000, where Jesus took 5 loaves and 2 fish, and multiplied them until every person was satisfied, and 12 baskets of leftovers remained, teaching us that in his hands there is never lack. That same power is alive today, not only to feed stomachs, but to provide for households, to cancel debts, and to release financial freedom. Your little is not insignificant when placed in the hands of Christ, because he is the multiplier of resources. This morning, surrender your loaves and fish, your coins and cents, your small paycheck, and trust him to stretch it into abundance. What he did on that hillside, he can do in your home. And now, child of God, I invite you to take a sacred step of faith by making this prayer personal. You may feel buried under bills, trapped by debt, or consumed by fear of lack, but God is saying to your heart, "Praise me first, and I will fight for you." Lift your voice and declare right now, "I praise you, God, even in the storm, even in the waiting, even in the struggle, because you are my provider." If this prayer has touched your heart, write these words in the comments. "I praise you, God, even in the storm." Share what you are facing. Let us lift you in prayer, and tell us the exact moment you paused to listen, whether 5 minutes in or 10 minutes, because this holy habit can reset your mornings with heaven's peace. Do not let this day pass without planting this declaration of faith into the soil of your spirit. The Lord who sustained Elijah by sending ravens with bread and meat each morning and each evening is the same Lord who sustains you today, even in the wilderness of financial stress. Elijah's provision was not natural, it was supernatural, showing us that God does not depend on earthly systems to provide for his children. If he could feed his prophet in the barren desert, he can certainly send resources into your life right now, even from unexpected sources. The mailbox, the phone call, the opportunity you never anticipated could be the raven carrying your blessing. Trust that your provider is never late, but always on time. Abraham, called the father of faith, trusted God even when asked to offer his only son Isaac, and in that moment of obedience he discovered God as Jehovah Jireh, the provider, who supplied a ram in place of his son. This story reminds us that obedience unlocks provision, and that God is never blind to sacrifice. What you release to God in faith will always return multiplied, for he is no man's debtor, but the rewarder of those who diligently seek him. Genesis 22:14 declares, "On the mountain of the Lord it will be provided," a truth that still stands strong today. As you climb the mountain of financial struggle, remember that provision is already waiting for you at the top. Job, who lost everything, wealth, children, and health, remained steadfast in his trust and discovered that God is a restorer, giving him back double what was lost. Your season of loss is not permanent, because the God who restored Job is still alive and moving in your life today. What debt has stolen, what bills have drained, and what hardship has stripped away, God can restore in greater measure than before. Hold on to the faith that your end will not resemble your beginning, because with God the latter glory is always greater. Even in the ashes of loss, there is a seed of abundance waiting to bloom. Mary, the mother of Jesus, lived in humble conditions, yet she carried the greatest treasure of all within her womb, proving that true wealth is not measured by material possession, but by the presence of God's favor. You may not have much in the eyes of the world, but you carry divine favor within you that outweighs every debt and surpasses every bill. God has chosen you as His child, and in that identity you are richer than any bank could measure. His blessings are not limited to money, but extend to peace, health, love, and joy, yet He also cares about your financial needs. This morning, walk in the confidence that you are favored, chosen, and destined for breakthrough. Think of Paul and Silas, who in the midnight hour sang praises while chained in prison, and suddenly the foundations of the jail shook and every chain fell off, leading to their freedom. Your midnight hour of financial worry can turn into a dawn of breakthrough when you choose praise over despair. Chains of debt, fear, and lack are breaking even now as you lift your voice to heaven. Praise is the sound that shakes open locked doors and invites God's power to intervene in your situation. What was meant to keep you bound is about to release you into freedom. The Israelites, trapped between Pharaoh's army and the Red Sea, thought their story had ended. Yet God opened the waters before them and made a way where none existed. In the same way, He is opening waters before you, parting the sea of unpaid debts, overdue bills, and looming obligations, so you can walk through on dry ground. What seems impossible in your strength is made possible in His power. Exodus 14:14 reminds us, "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." Be still in His presence this morning and let Him carry the battle on your behalf. Beloved, lift your eyes from the papers, the numbers, and the fear, and fix them on the Lord, who owns the cattle on 1,000 hills and calls all the silver and gold His. The resources of heaven are not scarce, and your needs are not beyond His supply. Psalm 50:10-12 assures us that everything belongs to Him, and if He is your Father, then what belongs to Him is also within reach for you. Stop measuring your future by your salary and start measuring it by your Savior. His abundance is your inheritance, and He is faithful to release it. Remember this: every Bible character you have recalled this morning was human like you, facing fear, lack, and impossible situations, but each one discovered that God is faithful to provide. You are no different, and His power has not diminished since their time. This morning, stand boldly in faith and declare that financial breakthrough and debt cancellation are not distant dreams but present realities in your life. What He did for them, He will do for you, because He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Start this day saying with confidence, "I praise you, God, because you are my provider, my deliverer, and my breakthrough." This morning, as you lift your heart to heaven, remember that God has already gone ahead of you, arranging meetings, opportunities, and divine alignments that will shift your financial situation. You may not see it with your natural eyes, but His hand is working in the unseen, orchestrating favor that will show itself in perfect time. Your debts, though heavy, are not greater than His power, and the burden that has weighed on your chest will be lifted. The Lord who makes rivers flow in the desert is releasing streams of provision into your life today. Trust that His ways are higher than yours, and His timing is perfect. There is a peace that comes when you hand over every bill, every overdue payment, and every anxious thought into the hands of the One who cares for you. Anxiety does not solve tomorrow's worries, but surrender invites heaven's intervention into your today. Each time you whisper, "God, I trust you," chains of fear are broken and doors of abundance swing open. Do not underestimate the power of prayer spoken in faith, because heaven listens to the humble cry of its children. This morning, let peace replace panic as you place every financial burden before Him. The Lord is reminding you today that lack is not your permanent address, but only a temporary season meant to grow your faith and strengthen your trust in His provision. You were not created to live under the weight of debt, but to live in the freedom of His abundance. He desires to make you a channel of blessing, not just for yourself, but for those around you, and for generations yet to come. When you feel pressed down by obligations, lift your hands and remember that His plans are always for your good. Your season of being pressed is producing oil for a new level of glory. Every cry of frustration that you have uttered in secret is a prayer that heaven has already recorded, and none of your tears have gone unnoticed by God. He is not blind to your sleepless nights, nor deaf to your sighs of worry, but He is already releasing answers that will silence the voice of debt in your life. Even when you feel unseen by people, your Father sees you, and His love is not dependent on your bank account. What seems like the end of your resources is the beginning of His demonstration of power. Today, let your spirit rise in faith and declare that God is your portion and your provider. Beloved, know that provision does not always arrive in the way you expect, but it always arrives in the way you need. Sometimes God provides through unexpected people, sometimes through doors you never thought would open, and sometimes through ideas that come quietly in prayer. Be attentive today, because your breakthrough may come disguised as an opportunity that others overlook. Every moment of obedience to His voice sets you up for greater release. Trust that He is creative in the way He provides, and He never fails. There is a freedom waiting for you beyond the weight of debt, and today God is leading you into it step by step. You may not see the full picture yet, but every prayer you lift is building a bridge to that freedom. Every declaration of faith is a seed that will bear fruit in its time. As you align your words with His promises, you are shaping the reality of your future. Believe this morning that freedom is not only coming, but it is already unfolding. God is calling you to lift your perspective from the mountain of debt to the God who moves mountains with a single word. Your eyes may be fixed on numbers, deadlines, and letters, but His eyes are fixed on you with love and compassion. Shift your gaze from your lack to His abundance, and you will see hope rising in your spirit. Fear may whisper that you will never escape, but faith declares that with God nothing is impossible. Choose faith today, and watch how fear loses its hold. Every day you choose to pray, you are breaking the cycle of despair and stepping into a new rhythm of victory. Morning by morning, as you seek His face, you are establishing a foundation that no storm of lack can destroy. Even when change seems slow, trust that roots are growing deep beneath the surface. God is establishing strength within you so that when the breakthrough comes, you will stand firm and never return to bondage. Keep pressing, keep praying, and keep believing, for the answer is closer than you realize. Heavenly strategies are being released into your life, and with them comes wisdom to manage resources, discipline to steward well, and grace to walk in peace. Breakthrough is not just about money appearing, but about God preparing you for lasting abundance. Debt will no longer be your master, but you will walk in authority over your finances. The Spirit of God is teaching you to live above fear, to make wise decisions, and to rest in His provision. Today is a day of equipping as much as it is a day of release. Even now, angels are being dispatched to work on your behalf, guiding you into connections, favor, and open doors that lead to breakthrough. You are not fighting this battle alone, for heaven's armies stand with you. When you pray, you activate their movement and they respond to the word of God spoken in faith. Do not underestimate what happens in the unseen when you lift your voice in trust. Every prayer is a command that sets heaven's host into motion. Debt speaks loudly, but the voice of God is louder still, declaring peace, freedom, and provision over your life. Choose to believe His word above the numbers and the deadlines, because His promises are unshakable. Every time you repeat His truth, you silence the enemy's lies. Let the sound of God's promises fill your home this morning. For where His word is declared, faith rises and chains break. Keep your confession aligned with His goodness, and watch as breakthrough follows. The Lord is faithful to finish what He begins, and the fact that you are praying this morning is evidence that He has already started something in your life. He will not leave you halfway, nor abandon you in the middle of the journey. Every step you take is leading you closer to the freedom He has promised. Trust Him to complete the work and carry you through to victory. He who started the miracle of provision will surely finish it. Let your heart be at rest today, because financial peace is not just about numbers, but about trusting the one who holds all resources. Peace is a gift that comes when you choose to release control into God's hands. As you walk through this day, allow His peace to guard your mind from fear and your heart from despair. Carry that peace like armor, knowing that nothing can shake you when you are rooted in His presence. The God of peace is walking with you into every moment. This morning is a fresh beginning, a reminder that yesterday's struggles do not define today's opportunities. God's mercies are new every morning, and with them comes fresh provision for your needs. Do not drag yesterday's worry into today's blessing. Instead, lift your eyes and expect something new, something better, something divine. Walk forward with confidence, because the God of new beginnings has already gone ahead of you. Your debt may seem like a giant towering over you, but giants always fall before the children of God. Do not be intimidated by what seems impossible, because every giant is only an opportunity for God's glory to be revealed. Stand firm this morning and declare boldly that your giant will not define your destiny. The greater one lives within you, and his strength is more than enough. Today, the giant of debt is trembling before your faith. The Spirit of God is whispering into your soul that your value is not determined by what you owe, but by whose you are. You belong to the King of Kings, and as His child, you are an heir to abundance and blessing. Do not let debt convince you that you are less, unworthy, or forgotten. Your identity is secure in Christ, and with Him comes the inheritance of peace and provision. Remember who you are and walk in that truth today. Every act of faith you take today, no matter how small, is a step into the abundance God has prepared for you. Whether it is giving, forgiving, praising, or simply choosing to trust, it builds a pathway to freedom. Heaven celebrates each step you take in obedience, because it brings you closer to the fullness of God's promise. Do not despise small beginnings, for they lead to great victories. Keep moving, and keep trusting that God is leading you. Let this morning end with a declaration: God, I trust you with my finances, my debts, and my future, because you are my faithful provider. Speak it boldly, believe it deeply, and carry it into every moment of your day. This declaration is not just words, but a seed of faith that heaven will honor. Carry it with you as a shield against doubt and a weapon against fear. Today you walk forward in confidence because breakthrough is already yours in Christ. This morning, beloved, God is surrounding you with a shield of favor that cannot be broken by the weight of financial stress or the lies of the enemy who whispers defeat into your ear. You may have carried debt for years, but today heaven is declaring that the cycle of burden will not last forever, for His mercy is rewriting your story. His mercy is new every morning, and that means His provision is also fresh, arriving not a moment too late. While the world may tell you there is no way forward, the Lord is crafting a new path under your feet. Trust in His hand, for He is leading you into the promise of freedom. When you look at your circumstances and see only lack, remember that God has always been in the business of turning emptiness into overflow. He takes what is small, overlooked, or broken, and transforms it into something abundant, glorious, and beyond comprehension. The same Spirit who raised Jesus from the dead lives in you, and that Spirit carries resurrection power over your finances and your peace. Even what has seemed dead and buried in your life can rise again by His command. This morning, allow hope to rise and believe that nothing is beyond His power to restore. The Lord is breathing life into your weary spirit, reminding you that you are not defined by numbers on a statement or balances owed, but by His unshakable love for you. Debt may attempt to chain your identity to shame, but Christ has already broken those chains at the cross. You are not a failure because of what you owe. You are a child of the King, chosen and precious in His sight. What the enemy intended for despair is becoming a testimony of deliverance. Today, receive that truth as a covering over your heart. There is a shift happening even now, though your natural eyes may not see it, as God arranges divine opportunities that will bring the release you have prayed for. He is not limited by economies, governments, or systems, for His authority rules over all. The resources of heaven are vast, limitless, and overflowing, and you are positioned as an heir to that inheritance. Your prayers are not ignored, but are working like keys, unlocking doors that will soon swing wide in your favor. Believe that your breakthrough is not only possible, but already unfolding. Beloved, understand that God's timing is perfect, even when it feels painfully delayed in your perspective. Sometimes He waits so that your faith can mature, so that when the provision comes, you will know beyond doubt that it was His hand and not your own. This delay is not denial, but preparation for something greater than you imagined. While you wait, seeds are being planted that will produce an abundant harvest in the right season. This morning, hold tightly to trust, for the one who promised is faithful. The Spirit of the Lord whispers into your heart today that you are not forgotten in the crowd, for He knows you by name and calls you His own. The same God who knows the number of hairs on your head knows the depth of the debts you carry, and He has already written the ending of this story. That ending is not one of defeat or despair, but of triumph and peace. Your future is not marked by fear, but by freedom, because He delights in setting His children free. Rest in this promise, because He will not fail you. Even when you feel surrounded by creditors and weighed down by deadlines, you are in truth surrounded by the presence of God, who is far greater than any adversary. Like mountains encircle Jerusalem, so does the Lord encircle you with His strength and protection. Every threat that seeks to steal your peace must bow to His authority. He is your defender, your shield, and your strong tower in times of need. Lean into His presence this morning and let fear dissolve. The more you praise, the more the heaviness begins to lift, because praise is not only an offering but a weapon that defeats despair. In the atmosphere of worship, God releases strategies, ideas, and wisdom that the world cannot give. As you lift your voice today, solutions will begin to surface and opportunities will begin to open. Praise places you in alignment with heaven's flow, where miracles are natural and provision is expected. Do not allow silence to cover your mouth. Declare His goodness loudly. You are called to walk in abundance, not as one enslaved to constant worry, but as one anchored in the truth that God supplies every need. This abundance does not mean excess without purpose, but provision with peace, resources with direction, and blessings with stewardship. God is preparing not only to cancel what burdens you, but also to build a foundation where future generations can walk debt-free. Your obedience today creates ripples that will bless those after you. Think beyond the moment and believe that this morning's prayer is impacting your tomorrow. Beloved, be reminded that your prayers are not in vain, for each word rises before the throne of God like incense, and none go unnoticed. He treasures your faithfulness even when you feel weak, and rewards those who continue to seek Him. Your breakthrough is tied to persistence, to showing up day after day and refusing to give up. Heaven honors those who do not relent in prayer but stand firm in trust. This morning, you are sowing into that reward. Peace is your inheritance, and no debt can rob you of what Christ has already secured. The enemy may try to use money as a weapon to shake your faith, but peace that comes from God cannot be stolen. This peace surpasses understanding, guarding your heart and mind as you navigate the journey. Let peace be your anchor today, keeping you steady as God works. Carry it like a shield, and nothing will break your spirit. Child of God, see how God is lifting you higher, step by step, out of the pit of despair into the light of His abundance. It may feel slow, but every step upward is a sign of His hand at work. The climb will not be in vain, because the summit holds freedom, joy, and provision. Keep climbing in faith, even when your legs grow weary, because strength is renewed in His presence. Today is another step closer to your freedom. Every obstacle you face is becoming a testimony, for God is turning your mess into a message of hope. Others will see your journey and believe because of the miracle that happens in your life. Debt will not be your defining story, but deliverance will be your banner. Through your struggle, God is birthing a testimony that will inspire faith in others. Rejoice, for He is writing something beautiful. Do not measure God's goodness by your present condition, for what you see is temporary, but what He is preparing is eternal. Your lack is not the final word, but only the backdrop for His glory to shine. The unseen reality of heaven's abundance is greater than the visible reality of earthly debt. Train your eyes to look beyond what is seen and into the promises that cannot be shaken. Believe in what is eternal, and strength will rise in your heart. The Spirit of God is whispering courage into your soul, courage to face bills without fear, courage to believe even when the balance is low, courage to keep sowing seeds of faith. This courage does not come from within you alone, but is poured into you by the one who strengthens all his children. Take hold of that courage today, for it will carry you into the places of provision you have prayed for. Fear will not have the last word, because courage is rising. You are stronger than you feel, because he is within you. Beloved, take this day as a fresh opportunity to reset your faith, to align your heart again with his promises, and to trust him without reservation. Yesterday's doubts do not have to follow you into today, and yesterday's fears do not have to dictate your steps. Every morning carries new mercies, and this morning is filled with hope. Take a deep breath, release your worry, and declare again that God is faithful. Walk forward knowing his hand is on you. Your breakthrough may come suddenly, like a door flung open, or gradually, like a sunrise creeping over the horizon. But in both forms it is sure, God has not failed you before, and he will not start now. The waiting is not wasted, but preparing you for what is ahead. Whether fast or slow, the outcome will be freedom and provision. Rest in the certainty that your answer is on its way. Finally, beloved, close this time of prayer with a heart lifted in gratitude, not because everything is fixed in this moment, but because God is faithful to bring it to completion. Gratitude unlocks a flow of peace that worry can never bring, and it prepares your heart to receive even more. As you step into this day, carry thankfulness as your anthem. Say aloud, God, I thank you for what you are doing in my life right now. With that declaration, walk into your day assured that provision is already unfolding. This morning, beloved, the Spirit of the Lord is gently reminding you that his mercies are new every morning, and his compassions never fail, which means today is filled with opportunities for breakthrough that yesterday could not hold. You are not waking up to the same story, even if the bills look the same, because heaven has already shifted something in your favor. While you slept, angels were at work arranging answers and aligning provision in ways you cannot yet see. This day carries a fresh outpouring of grace to meet every financial need. Receive it as a gift, because it is freely given by your Father. You may have been weighed down with discouragement, but God is lifting that heaviness from your shoulders right now, replacing despair with peace and fear with faith. The lies of the enemy try to convince you that things will never change, but the truth of God declares that you are already on the path to freedom. Do not allow your mind to stay chained to yesterday's failures, because today holds the possibility of miracles. Even the smallest shift can create ripples that lead to full deliverance. Trust that God is working in the background while you pray. Beloved, it is important to understand that financial provision is not only about money, but about the peace and wisdom that comes with it. God desires to give you a sound mind, a steady heart, and clarity in your decisions, because true freedom is more than cancelled debts. It is learning to walk in his abundance without fear. He will give you strategies for stewardship, wisdom for opportunities, and discernment for decisions that will secure your future. As you seek him this morning, he is pouring wisdom into you like oil filling an empty lamp. With wisdom comes stability, and with stability comes peace. Every prayer you lift in faith is like a seed planted into fertile soil, and no seed planted in God's name goes unnoticed. Seeds may take time to sprout, but when the harvest comes, it arrives with multiplication. This morning, believe that the seeds of trust, obedience, and persistence you have sown are beginning to sprout. Do not dig up what you have planted with doubt, but water it with words of faith. Speak life over your situation, because your harvest is on the way. Child of God, you may feel surrounded by problems, but you are truly surrounded by the presence of the Lord, which is greater than any challenge you face. His presence encamps around those who fear him, and his angels guard the path of his children. Even in moments when you feel outnumbered, you are never alone, for the armies of heaven fight for you. Debt and fear may shout loudly, but the voice of God is declaring peace over you. Hold on to His presence as your greatest shield today. Let your spirit rise in praise this morning, for praise lifts you above the weight of circumstances and sets your heart in alignment with heaven's perspective. When you praise, your focus shifts from the mountain to the one who moves mountains. Praise confuses the enemy and silences the voice of doubt that tries to dominate your mind. Even before you see the answer, lift your song as though it has already arrived. This kind of praise ushers in the breakthrough you have been praying for. Beloved, understand that your financial breakthrough is not just about relief for you, but about releasing testimony for others who will see what God has done. Your story of deliverance will inspire faith in those who are struggling, and your freedom will shine as evidence of God's goodness. Every tear you have shed is being turned into a testimony that others will one day draw strength from. Nothing is wasted when you are in the hands of the Almighty. Even your pain becomes a seed of hope for someone else's future. Do not despise the small changes you notice, because they are signs that God is moving. A small opening can lead to a wide door, and a small victory can lead to full freedom. Celebrate every step forward, because gratitude multiplies the blessings in your life. Even if the debt is not fully gone, rejoice in the progress, for every reduction is proof of God's hand at work. Give thanks, and let thanksgiving set the tone for your day. The Spirit of God is whispering courage into your soul this morning, telling you that you are stronger than the enemy wants you to believe. Fear may make you feel powerless, but faith fills you with authority to stand and resist the weight of despair. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to trust God in the face of it. Rise with courage today, knowing that heaven stands with you. When you walk in courage, fear loses its grip. Beloved, do not forget that the same God who provides is also the God who protects. He is not only supplying your needs, but also shielding you from the traps of the enemy that seek to entangle you again. His hand is covering you, guiding your steps away from decisions that would cause harm. He is protecting your future while providing for your present. Rest in His dual nature as provider and protector. Every morning prayer builds a wall of faith around your heart, brick by brick, until the enemy cannot break through with lies of defeat. Your persistence in prayer is creating a fortress of peace that cannot be shaken by storms of lack. Keep building with consistency, because each prayer is a stone of strength in your foundation. This is how you secure your breakthrough, by standing firm in prayer without ceasing. Today is another stone laid in the wall of your victory. Beloved, there is power in declaring God's promises aloud over your life, because words spoken in faith shape your reality. Speak over yourself today that you are free, that you are blessed, that you are walking into overflow. Refuse to let the language of lack dominate your lips. Instead, let the truth of heaven flow from your mouth like living water. The atmosphere will shift when your confession aligns with His word. The presence of God is resting upon you this morning, calming your heart and strengthening your spirit for the day ahead. His presence is not far away but near, closer than the breath in your lungs. With Him near, there is nothing you cannot face, no debt too great, no burden too heavy. Allow His peace to anchor your soul and His joy to be your strength. In His presence is fullness of joy, and that joy will carry you through. Beloved, know that breakthrough often begins in your heart before it shows in your circumstances. God is shifting your mindset from fear to faith, from despair to hope, and from lack to abundance. When your heart is aligned with His truth, the outside world begins to reflect the transformation. Focus on the renewal of your heart this morning and trust that everything else will follow. The change within you is the seed of change around you. Your testimony is being written even now. Though the ink may be invisible to your eyes, it is visible to heaven. Every step of faith, every prayer, and every moment of trust is part of a story that will glorify God. You will look back on this season and see how far He has brought you. The struggle will not be your permanent chapter, but only the prologue to your victory. Hold fast, for your testimony is unfolding. Do not be discouraged if the answer seems delayed, for the waiting is producing patience and shaping you for greater blessings. God's timing is not bound by human clocks, but is set according to His perfect wisdom. Every moment of waiting is preparation for the abundance to come. Trust that what feels like delay is actually alignment with heaven's best. You are not behind schedule, you are right where God needs you. Beloved, the Lord is declaring peace over your mind right now, silencing the storm of fear and quieting the chaos of anxiety. He is filling you with assurance that He is faithful and will never leave you or forsake you. This peace will carry you as a shield into the day, keeping you steady in every circumstance. No fear can penetrate the peace that God has established within you. Walk forward clothed in that peace, for it is your inheritance. Finally, remember that today is not just another day, but a sacred opportunity to walk with God in deeper trust. Every sunrise carries with it new mercy, new provision, and new hope for your journey. Do not treat this day lightly, but embrace it as a divine gift. As you step into the hours ahead, let your heart sing with gratitude for what is already being done. Trust that God's favor is surrounding you as a shield, and breakthrough is already in motion. Beloved, as this morning begins, know that your Heavenly Father is closer to you than your worries, and He has already carried into today the solutions for problems you have not yet faced. What troubles you now has already been answered in His perfect wisdom, and the path that looks blocked will soon open in ways beyond your imagination. The heaviness of financial stress is being lifted from your shoulders as you release it into His hands. He never designed you to carry what only He can hold. Let His peace wrap around you like a blanket, reminding you that you are safe in His provision. God is not asking you to figure everything out today. He is asking you to trust Him completely with what feels overwhelming. Your role is to surrender in faith while He moves mountains on your behalf. The pressure to control every detail melts away in the presence of the one who already knows the end from the beginning. Today's prayer is an act of letting go, trading fear for trust and anxiety for peace. As you release, heaven releases blessings into your life. Beloved, remember that what seems like delay is often God's way of preparing something better than you could ask for. Sometimes He withholds not to punish, but to protect you from harm, and sometimes He waits so that your testimony will be greater. Every second of waiting builds roots of faith that will anchor you when abundance flows. Waiting is not wasted when it deepens your trust. This morning, let patience become your strength instead of your burden. Your heart may feel weary from constant pressure, but the Spirit of God renews your strength like the eagle rising into the sky. Each prayer you lift is not just words, but fuel for your spirit, carrying you higher above the storms of lack. He is breathing new life into your soul, reminding you that you are not finished and your story is not over. His strength will sustain you when your own runs out. Rise today knowing He has empowered you to endure and overcome. Debt may appear like an unshakable mountain, but even mountains bow at the command of faith-filled prayer. Jesus said that if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you can speak to the mountain and it will move, and that promise is still true today. Speak boldly this morning, commanding lack to depart and provision to arrive. Your words have authority because they align with God's word. Use your voice as a weapon of faith and watch mountains shift. Beloved, the atmosphere around you is changing even as you pray, because the power of heaven is not passive but active, moving at the sound of your faith. Angels are responding to the call of God's word spoken through your lips. Though invisible, they are working tirelessly to bring you into alignment with blessing and freedom. The unseen realm is alive with activity because of the faith rising in your heart today. Believe that heaven's armies are fighting for you now. The Lord desires not just to provide for your needs, but to teach you how to walk in wisdom so that freedom will be lasting and complete. Breakthrough is more than a moment. It is a lifestyle of trust and stewardship that flows from intimacy with Him. Today, He is giving you discernment to recognize open doors and wisdom to step into them. He is shaping your heart to value obedience over impulse, faith over fear, and wisdom over haste. With this foundation, abundance will not be fleeting but secure. Beloved, see how God is transforming the very way you think about provision, shifting your perspective from survival to overflow. He is training you to believe that you are more than a debtor or a struggler. You are an heir of His kingdom. Abundance is not a dream but an inheritance, and it belongs to you through Christ. This morning, let your mind be renewed with this truth until it shapes your entire outlook. You were made for freedom, not bondage. Every obstacle in your path today is also an opportunity to prove God's power once again. Challenges reveal His strength, and lack highlights His provision. The very situation that causes you worry is the same place where His glory will shine the brightest. Do not despise the problem, because it is the platform for your testimony. Thank Him even for the obstacles, because they carry the seeds of breakthrough. Beloved, your prayers are never wasted, for they rise like incense before the throne of God, and He delights in the fragrance of your faith. Each word you speak is recorded, treasured, and honored in heaven. Though you may not yet see the fruit, heaven is already watering the seeds. Breakthrough begins the moment you pray, even before the answer arrives. Do not stop praying, because your persistence is powerful. The Lord is covering you with peace, that no debt collector, no deadline, and no pressure can steal. This peace is beyond human understanding, but it is yours because of Christ's sacrifice. Carry it with you into your day as a shield against every anxious thought. Let it rule your heart and mind, calming every storm that tries to rise against you. This peace is a treasure far more valuable than gold. Beloved, do not let shame weigh you down, because shame is not from God but from the enemy, who seeks to keep you bound. Your debts do not define your worth, and your struggles do not erase your identity as a child of the King. God looks at you with eyes of love, not judgment, and He is eager to lift you out of every pit. Stand boldly this morning, knowing that shame has no hold on you. Your identity is secure in Christ. Provision is not just coming, it is already being released, like streams flowing quietly until they suddenly burst into sight. God is working behind the scenes to align resources, relationships, and opportunities that will bring abundance into your life. Even now, pieces are falling into place that will soon make sense to you. Do not doubt because of what you cannot see. Trust that God is always active on your behalf. Beloved, today is another step closer to freedom, and though the journey may feel long, each step is progress. Celebrate the small victories, for they are signs of His hand at work. Do not overlook the little shifts, because they carry the proof of God's faithfulness. Gratitude multiplies blessings, and thanksgiving prepares the way for greater breakthroughs. Thank Him now, even before the fullness arrives. You are not meant to walk this journey alone, for the Spirit of God is your constant companion, guiding, comforting, and strengthening you. Every sigh of your heart is heard, and every tear is collected in His care. He has promised never to leave you, nor forsake you, and that includes in your financial struggles. You are not abandoned, you are accompanied. Walk today with the confidence that He is beside you. Beloved, the God who opens doors no one can shut is opening pathways of provision that no man can block. He is orchestrating favor with people, institutions, and opportunities that will work in your favor. What looked closed will open, and what looked dead will live again. He is making the impossible possible for you right now. Rejoice, because your door of breakthrough is opening. Every declaration you make in faith this morning echoes in eternity and changes the atmosphere around you. Speak boldly, not with doubt, but with confidence that God is faithful to His word. Let your words be filled with life and anchored in promise. Say aloud that you are free, you are blessed, and you are walking in abundance. Heaven listens, and so does your own spirit. Beloved, rise from this time of prayer with peace in your heart and courage in your steps, knowing that the Lord has already gone ahead of you. Today is filled with divine appointments and supernatural provision waiting to be revealed. Do not enter this day with fear, but with thanksgiving, because your Father is faithful. Walk boldly, for His favor surrounds you as a shield. Carry hope, because your financial breakthrough is already in motion. Beloved, this morning is another divine opportunity to rise above fear and step into faith, because the same God who has carried you through yesterday's battles is already present in today's victories. Though your circumstances may whisper lack, His word declares abundance and freedom for those who trust Him. You are not waking up to endless cycles, but to mercies that are new every morning. These mercies carry the strength you need for today's burdens. Receive them now as your portion, because God's goodness is enough. The weight of debt may have felt unbearable, but today heaven is reminding you that the yoke of Christ is easy and His burden is light. Exchange the heaviness of financial pressure for the rest that comes from His presence. He does not ask you to carry what only He can resolve. Instead, He invites you to lay it all down and find peace at His feet. This exchange is the secret to true freedom. Beloved, when fear tells you that nothing will ever change, remember that fear is a liar that loses power in the presence of faith. Every time you pray, you resist the lies that debt tries to speak over your future. You are not destined for bondage, but for breakthrough. You are not marked by despair, but by deliverance. This morning, let faith drown out fear until only trust remains. God is pouring fresh strength into you right now, reminding you that the end of your resources is the beginning of His miracles. Where you see lack, He sees the perfect place to display His glory. Do not despise your limitations, because they are the stage for His power. What looks impossible in your hands is easy in His. Rest in this truth, for His strength is made perfect in weakness. Beloved, take courage today, because every challenge you face is an opportunity to prove God's faithfulness once more. The walls of debt that feel like prisons are nothing before His mighty power. He has torn down walls before, and He will do it again for you. You are not trapped. You are standing at the threshold of breakthrough. Choose courage, because your deliverer is near. When you feel like giving up, remember that persistence is the key that unlocks doors in the spiritual realm. Do not stop praying, do not stop believing, and do not stop declaring His promises, because consistency always produces fruit. Though you may not see results yet, heaven is moving in response to your faith. Each prayer is recorded, and each cry is heard. Keep pressing forward, for breakthrough is closer than it appears. Beloved, your financial struggle is not a sign of abandonment, but an invitation into deeper intimacy with the Lord. He uses these seasons to show you that He is your ultimate source, not your employer, not your bank, and not the systems of this world. When you lean fully on Him, you discover peace that surpasses understanding. This dependence is not weakness, but strength, because it anchors you in His endless provision. Walk today knowing you are fully held by His love. There is power in your declaration, beloved, and today your words carry the ability to shape your atmosphere. Speak life over your finances, hope over your home, and victory over your debts. Refuse to repeat the language of defeat, because heaven responds to faith-filled words. As you speak boldly, you align your spirit with the promises of God. Let your mouth declare what your heart believes. Freedom is coming. Beloved, even when the numbers do not add up, trust that God is the multiplier who makes little become much. He is not limited by mathematics or logic, because His resources are limitless. What seems like scarcity is being transformed into sufficiency through His hand. Your 5 loaves and 2 fish are more than enough when surrendered to Him. Believe that He is multiplying even now what you thought was too small. God is raising you up as a testimony of His goodness, beloved, and your deliverance will not only bless you but inspire others. People who have watched your struggle will one day see your freedom and believe in the power of God. Your story will become evidence of His faithfulness. Do not be ashamed of your journey, because it will glorify Him in the end. Hold on, for your testimony is being written. Beloved, gratitude is a key that unlocks joy, even in the midst of financial trials, and today you are invited to thank God in advance for what He is about to do. Thanksgiving shifts your perspective from what you lack to what you already have. As you give thanks, your heart becomes a fertile ground for blessings to grow. Gratitude is not denial of reality, but an acknowledgement of God's sovereignty. Start this day with thanksgiving and watch peace overflow. Do not allow comparison to steal your peace, beloved, for your story is not like anyone else's story. What God is doing in your life is uniquely tailored for your journey. Looking at others will only distract you from the miracle happening before your eyes. Trust that your pace is perfect because it is set by the hand of God. Walk in your lane knowing His plan for you is good. Beloved, your prayer is not just about asking, but also about receiving the peace that God offers freely. As you open your heart to Him this morning, peace flows in like a river, steady and unending. Let that peace silence the chaos of worry and the noise of fear. Carry it with you as armor into the day. In peace you will see clearly the path He has prepared. The Spirit of God is lifting your chin this morning, beloved, so that you may look forward instead of backward. Yesterday's mistakes do not define today's opportunities. The past debts, errors, or missteps cannot cancel the future that God has ordained for you. He has already forgiven, restored, and redeemed. Today is a day to walk in the freedom of new beginnings. Beloved, remember that joy is strength, and laughter is medicine for your soul, even in seasons of lack. Do not allow the heaviness of financial stress to steal the joy that God has placed within you. Choose joy as an act of defiance against despair. Your joy confuses the enemy and strengthens your spirit. Smile today, knowing that joy is your inheritance. Your Father in heaven is whispering to you right now that you are deeply loved, and His love is the greatest treasure you will ever know. Money may come and go, but His love is eternal and unshakable. Let that love be your anchor when everything else feels unstable. You are priceless in His eyes, and nothing can diminish your worth. Rest in His love, and you will find peace beyond measure. Beloved, this morning ends not with worry, but with a declaration of trust. God, I release every debt, every bill, and every burden into your hands, believing that you are my provider. Say it aloud until your heart believes it fully. This declaration is a seed of faith that heaven honors. Carry it with you throughout the day, letting it silence fear whenever it tries to rise. Trust is your anthem, and freedom is your portion. Beloved, as this new morning begins, allow hope to rise within you, like the sun breaking through the horizon. For God has not abandoned you in your struggles, but has carried you into a day filled with new mercy. Every shadow of fear that followed you through the night is dissolving in the light of His presence. He is with you right now, reminding you that His grace is sufficient and His strength is made perfect in weakness. Do not measure your worth by your worries, but by His unwavering love. Today is a day of possibilities, because heaven is leaning in your direction. Your heart may have grown weary from waiting, but remember that God is faithful to complete what He has started, and every delay carries hidden preparation. You are not forgotten, though the silence may have made you doubt. Heaven has already heard your prayers, and angels are moving in obedience to God's command on your behalf. Breakthrough may not come in your timing, but it will come in His perfect schedule. Trust that the waiting is shaping you for greater blessings than you imagined. Beloved, lift your eyes this morning from the papers, the debts, and the accounts, and fix them on the one who calls Himself your provider. He has not failed anyone who has trusted Him, and He will not begin with you. The fear of insufficiency cannot survive in the presence of divine abundance. His word has promised to supply all your needs according to His riches in glory. Let this promise settle your heart and silence the voice of worry. You may feel as though the weight of your obligations is crushing, but God is your strength and your shield, carrying the burdens you were never meant to bear alone. Lay them before Him today, surrendering every detail into His hands. Release control, for the outcome does not rest on your strength, but on His faithfulness. He has carried heavier loads for His children, and He will carry yours. In His arms, your heart will find rest. Beloved, every morning prayer is like building a wall of protection around your life, brick upon brick, until the storms of lack cannot destroy you. You are not wasting words, you are laying a foundation for freedom. Even when you do not see results immediately, trust that every prayer counts. Heaven treasures the persistence of those who seek. You are constructing a fortress of faith that debt cannot penetrate. God is reminding you today that you are not a victim of circumstances, but a victor in Christ, called to walk in freedom. The enemy may try to define you by your financial condition, but heaven defines you by your eternal identity. You are a child of the King, and your inheritance is abundance, not bondage. Do not believe the lies that you are forgotten or forsaken. Walk boldly in the truth that freedom is your destiny. Beloved, the atmosphere of heaven responds to gratitude, so let thanksgiving flow from your lips even before the answer arrives. Thank Him for the small shifts, the little signs of progress, and the hidden ways He has been sustaining you. Gratitude multiplies blessings and opens the door to greater release. When you choose to thank God instead of complain, you align your spirit with abundance. Begin this day with thanksgiving and watch peace overflow. Even now, God is planting ideas in your mind, opportunities in your path, and strategies in your spirit that will become keys to financial breakthrough. He gives wisdom generously to those who ask, and that wisdom will guide you into freedom. Listen closely today for His still small voice, because it may direct you into your next step of deliverance. His guidance is worth more than gold, for it carries eternal provision. Follow it faithfully, and you will walk in blessing. Beloved, your testimony is being written in this very moment, though you may not see the words yet. The tears you have cried are becoming ink in the story of your deliverance. One day, you will look back and see how God carried you through every detail. What feels like ashes now will soon be beauty. Your testimony will encourage others who are still waiting for their breakthrough. God is reminding you that peace is not the absence of debt, but the presence of His Spirit within you. Financial burdens may remain, but when His peace fills you, the weight loses its power to crush your soul. His peace guards your heart like a soldier guarding a gate, refusing entry to fear and despair. Let peace settle in you like a deep river this morning. With peace, you will see clearly the path forward. Beloved, courage is rising within you right now, a courage that will allow you to face challenges without fear. This courage does not come from your own strength, but from the Spirit of God living within you. With courage, you can take steps of faith you never thought possible. With courage, you can face bills without panic and deadlines without despair. Courage is your inheritance, and today it flows like fire through your spirit. The Lord is assuring you that the story is not over, and what looks like an ending is only a chapter in the greater narrative of your life. He is the author, and He is writing redemption on every page. The debt you face now will one day become a testimony of His power. What feels like a valley will soon turn into a mountaintop. Do not close the book too soon, because God is still writing. Beloved, the Spirit of God is your constant companion, walking beside you into every appointment, every meeting, and every responsibility. You are never alone in your struggle, for He has promised never to leave you or forsake you. His presence is enough to calm storms and silence fears. Carry Him with you as you step into the day. His nearness is your greatest treasure. Every declaration you make this morning carries weight in the spiritual realm, and heaven is listening to the words that leave your mouth. Do not waste your words on fear or despair, but fill your mouth with truth and faith. Declare boldly that you are free, that you are blessed, and that debt is losing its hold on you. Speak life into your finances and watch life spring forth. Words are seeds, and today you are planting abundance. Beloved, know that joy is a weapon, and it strengthens you in ways you cannot yet see. Choose joy, even in the face of unpaid bills and heavy burdens. Joy is not denial of reality, but confidence in God's sovereignty. When you laugh, when you smile, when you rejoice, you are declaring victory over despair. Let joy be your song this morning. The Lord is whispering to your heart that your journey is not wasted, because every struggle is shaping your faith for the future. The lessons you are learning now will protect you when abundance flows. You will walk in wisdom because of the trials you endured. Do not despise the process, because it is making you stronger. What feels like breaking is actually building. Beloved, rise today with hope, because hope anchors your soul and steadies you through storms. Hope declares that tomorrow will be better than today, and that God's promises are trustworthy. Even in the valley, hope sings of mountaintops. Carry hope with you as a shield and let it guide your steps. Hope is the lamp that lights your path in darkness. As this time of prayer closes, carry with you the assurance that your God is faithful and His favor surrounds you like a shield. Step into this day with confidence, not because all has changed yet, but because He is working all things together for your good. Let gratitude be your song, and faith your anchor. Lift your head, for your deliverance draws near. This morning is the dawn of breakthrough, and peace is already flowing into your heart. Beloved, this morning is not a repetition of yesterday's struggles, but a fresh canvas painted with God's mercy, grace, and provision, reminding you that His goodness renews with every sunrise. You are not destined to repeat cycles of fear and lack, because your Father in heaven is always writing new chapters for your story. The heaviness of debt may still press on you, but His hand is greater, lifting you into a place of peace. He has promised to never leave nor forsake you, and His promises are sure. Today is filled with divine opportunities waiting to unfold. When worry tries to creep into your mind, silence it with the truth that God is your provider and sustainer, and He has already secured tomorrow before you woke up today. Worry adds no value to your life, but trust builds a foundation for miracles. Each anxious thought that you release into His care becomes a seed of peace. Do not allow fear to dictate your perspective when faith offers you freedom. Trust is your greatest weapon against despair. Beloved, every financial battle you face is not only about numbers, but about learning to rely on God as your ultimate source, the one who never runs dry. Employers may fail, institutions may collapse, and economies may shift, but the kingdom of God is unshakable. Your life is anchored in that eternal kingdom, where provision flows without end. He has not left you empty-handed, but has already placed resources within reach. Ask Him for eyes to see what He has provided. The Spirit of God is whispering to your heart right now that solutions are closer than they appear, though you may not yet recognize them. Divine strategies, unexpected opportunities, and hidden blessings are waiting just around the corner. Heaven delights in surprising you with goodness at the moment you least expect it. Keep your heart open to receive, because His provision is never late. What seems hidden today will soon be revealed. Beloved, remember that peace does not come when every bill is paid, but when your soul rests in the assurance that God holds your future. This peace surpasses all understanding and cannot be stolen by debt or destroyed by pressure. Peace is the anchor that steadies you when storms rise and fears roar. Let His peace guard your mind like a fortress this morning. With peace, you will see clearly and stand strong. Gratitude is the key to unlock greater blessings. Beloved, so begin your day with thanksgiving for even the smallest provisions. Thank Him for the roof over your head, the breath in your lungs, the food on your table, and the strength to pray again. Gratitude transforms your outlook and multiplies your joy. When you thank God in the small, you prepare yourself to receive the great. Begin this morning with a heart full of thanksgiving. Beloved, God is reminding you today that debt is not your identity, because your true identity is hidden in Christ, secure and unshakable. You are not defined by what you owe, but by the love that was poured out for you on the cross. That love cannot be measured, cannot be limited, and cannot be reduced by earthly struggles. Your worth is beyond money, and your value is eternal. Remember who you are as you walk through this day. This morning, the Lord is giving you courage to face responsibilities with a steady heart, for courage is the shield that deflects fear and the flame that lights your path. Courage is not about the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward despite it. With courage, you can face bills without panic and deadlines without despair. The spirit within you is greater than any obstacle before you. Stand tall today in the courage that God has given you. Beloved, Persistence in prayer is your key to breakthrough, because heaven honors those who do not give up. Every morning you show up in prayer. You are building momentum in the Spirit. Even when results seem slow, trust that your prayers are moving mountains you cannot yet see. God treasures your persistence as evidence of your faith. Do not stop, for the answer is on its way. The Lord is preparing wisdom for you today, because financial freedom is not just about miracles, but about stewardship that sustains abundance. He will guide you with discernment to make decisions that secure your future. Wisdom is as much a blessing as provision, because it keeps the door of freedom open. Ask Him for wisdom this morning, and He will pour it out generously. With wisdom, your breakthrough will be lasting. Beloved, your heart is being strengthened right now, infused with hope that tomorrow can be brighter than today. Hope is the anchor that keeps your soul steady in the storms of life. Without hope, despair overtakes, but with hope, strength rises. Let hope be your companion today, walking beside you in every moment. Hope whispers that the story is not over, and freedom is near. God is transforming the way you think about abundance, showing you that it is not about excess, but about peace and sufficiency in Him. True wealth is walking without fear, knowing that your needs are met by His hand. As your mindset shifts, your circumstances will follow, because faith always produces fruit. Do not measure abundance by worldly standards, but by His provision in your life. You are richer than you realize, because peace is priceless. Beloved, remember that joy is not tied to circumstances but rooted in the presence of God. Even in the midst of financial stress, you can choose joy as an act of defiance against despair. Joy strengthens you in ways that money cannot. When you laugh, when you smile, when you rejoice, you are declaring victory over the enemy. Joy is your weapon today, so use it freely. Your journey may feel long, but every step forward is a sign that God is moving with you, guiding you into freedom. Progress is not always dramatic, but is always worth celebrating. Celebrate even the smallest steps, because they are evidence of God's faithfulness. Gratitude for the process prepares you for the promise. Keep walking, because you are not alone. Beloved, even when doors seem closed, trust that God is the one who holds the keys, and no one can shut what He opens. Closed doors are often His protection, keeping you from paths that would harm you. Trust Him enough to release disappointment and wait for the door He has prepared. The right door will open at the right time. His timing is flawless and His ways are perfect. The Spirit of God is closer than your breath, beloved, and His presence is your greatest treasure. You are not walking into this day alone, because He walks beside you with love and compassion. His presence silences fear and fills you with courage. Let His nearness be your comfort as you face challenges. With Him, nothing is impossible. Beloved, your declaration this morning is powerful. God, I trust you with my finances, my debts, and my future, because you are faithful. Speak it aloud, believe it deeply, and carry it into every part of your day. This declaration is not empty words, but seeds of faith planted in heaven's soil. Heaven responds to bold faith, and your words are shaping your tomorrow. Let this be your anthem as you step into freedom. Beloved, as you awaken to the light of this morning, let your heart be still and remember that the Lord is already ahead of you, preparing solutions and aligning blessings that your eyes cannot yet see. He is faithful to provide, faithful to sustain, and faithful to deliver, no matter how heavy the burden may feel. You are not walking into an ordinary day, but into a day covered by divine mercy and grace. Heaven has already declared victory over your lack. Rest in that truth and carry peace into your soul. Even when numbers and deadlines scream impossibility, remember that the voice of God is louder, speaking peace and provision into your life. His promises outweigh the weight of bills, and His power surpasses every demand that threatens your peace. The enemy may try to magnify your problems, but God magnifies His glory through them. He turns what seems overwhelming into an opportunity for His hand to be revealed. Do not let fear dictate your focus when faith offers you strength. Beloved, God is calling you to see beyond the immediate struggle and look toward the abundance that is coming. He is not a God of just enough, but a God of overflow. What seems empty today is being filled by His hand. He is multiplying opportunities, stretching resources, and releasing favor into your path. Believe that He is bringing you out of survival and into abundance. This morning, remember that prayer is not wasted time, but the most powerful investment of your energy, because prayer invites heaven to intervene in earthly affairs. Every word you speak rises like incense before the throne of God, and none are ignored. He listens, He remembers, and He responds in His perfect timing. Do not stop lifting your voice, even when answers seem delayed. Your persistence is building the testimony you will one day share. Beloved, the Spirit of God is whispering peace into your soul right now, silencing the storm of anxiety that debt tries to stir within you. This peace is not fragile but unshakable because it is rooted in the presence of Christ. No amount of financial pressure can break what God has already secured. Let His peace guard your heart and mind as a fortress. Carry it with you like armor into today's challenges. When fear tries to whisper that you will never escape the weight of lack, let faith rise up and answer with boldness. Faith declares that the God who provided yesterday will provide again today and tomorrow. Faith reminds you that debt is not eternal but temporary, and freedom is your inheritance. Let faith be your response to fear, not doubt or despair. Speak faith until your heart fully believes it. Beloved, gratitude remains your greatest weapon against despair because it shifts your eyes from what you lack to what God has already given. Thank Him for the food on your table, the roof over your head, and the breath in your lungs. Gratitude multiplies blessings and softens your heart to receive more. When you give thanks, you step into alignment with heaven's abundance. Begin this day with gratitude and watch peace overflow. God is reminding you that you are not your debt, because your identity is secure in Him and cannot be shaken by numbers or statements. The enemy tries to define you by struggle, but the Lord defines you by sonship and love. You are His child, chosen, redeemed, and precious in His sight. Nothing can diminish your worth, no matter how heavy the burden feels. Walk in your true identity today. Beloved, hope is the anchor of your soul, steadying you in the storms of financial uncertainty. Without hope, despair overtakes, but with hope, strength rises. Let hope remind you that the story is not finished and your ending is written in victory. Hope sees beyond today into the freedom that is coming. Carry that hope like a flame that cannot be extinguished. Every challenge you face is also a lesson, beloved, shaping you with wisdom and strengthening your faith. God does not waste pain, but uses it to prepare you for greater blessings. What you learn in the valley will sustain you on the mountain. Do not despise the process, because it is producing maturity in you. This is not wasted time, but preparation for glory. Beloved, the Lord is opening your ears today to hear His still small voice guiding you into decisions that will protect and prosper you. His wisdom is as much a gift as His provision, because it keeps freedom secure. Listen closely as He nudges your heart with discernment. He is directing your steps even in the details. Trust His leading, for it is always perfect. God is assuring you today that He is not only canceling debts, but also teaching you to walk in lasting freedom. His goal is not only relief, but transformation. You will come out wiser, stronger, and more disciplined than before. He will equip you to live in abundance without fear of returning to bondage. This is a complete work He is doing in you. Beloved, when despair tells you to stop praying, remember that persistence always produces results in the Spirit. Heaven treasures faith that does not quit. Every morning you pray, you are proving that you trust Him. That trust is never wasted. Continue pressing forward, for the answer is closer than you think. Do not measure God's love by your bank account, because His love is greater than money and cannot be diminished by financial stress. His love is your true wealth, and it is unshakable. When you feel poor in resources, remember you are rich in His grace. When you feel empty, remember you are full of His Spirit. This love is your inheritance, and it is eternal. Beloved, joy is your portion even in the midst of waiting, because joy is not tied to circumstances but to the presence of God within you. When you smile, when you laugh, when you sing, you defy the darkness of despair. Joy strengthens your heart and lifts your spirit higher. Choose joy as your act of faith today. Joy is your strength, and it is yours to claim. This morning, God is lifting your chin so you may see beyond the weight of bills and deadlines to the hope of deliverance. You are not forgotten, not forsaken, and not abandoned. His eyes are on you, and His hand is moving for you. Stand tall and look forward with faith. Your tomorrow will not look like today. Beloved, let your declaration this morning be bold. God, I trust you to provide, to cancel every debt, and to carry me into freedom. Speak it aloud until your heart is filled with courage. Words of faith are seeds that heaven honors and multiplies. Let your mouth agree with what God has promised. This is your anthem for today: trust, faith, and freedom. Finally, as you step into the day, carry with you the confidence that God is not finished and the best is still ahead. The burdens of today are lighter because His presence carries them with you. Walk forward with hope, peace, and courage. Believe that provision is already on the way. This morning is a reminder that you are held, loved, and destined for breakthrough. Beloved, as this day begins, remember that the Lord is faithful, and His faithfulness is not bound by your circumstances or limited by your debts. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever, which means the same God who provided in the past is providing for you now. Even if your heart feels heavy, know that His strength is carrying you. The weight of lack does not diminish His abundance. Today, He is enough for you. God is whispering into your soul that your situation is not hopeless, though the enemy tries to convince you otherwise. Hope is the light that guides you forward when the path feels dark. Every step of faith you take is a victory in the Spirit. Heaven celebrates persistence because it is the evidence of trust. Do not let despair rob you of hope this morning. Beloved, understand that God's resources are limitless, and He is not restricted by the numbers that appear on your bills or statements. He owns the cattle on 1,000 hills, and all silver and gold are His. If He is your Father, then you are never truly without provision. He has already prepared streams of blessing that will meet your needs. Trust Him to reveal them in His timing. Your prayers are powerful, beloved, and they rise before God like sweet incense, treasured in His presence. None of your words are wasted, for He records every cry and honors every plea. Even when the answer seems far away, trust that it is already in motion. Angels are dispatched at the sound of your faith-filled prayers. The unseen realm is working on your behalf. Beloved, God is equipping you not only for breakthrough, but also for lasting freedom, so that debt will never hold you again. He is teaching you wisdom, discipline, and stewardship to protect your future. This process may feel stretching, but it is shaping you for strength. Abundance is not only about money, but about peace and responsibility. God's blessing is designed to last, not just to relieve for a moment. This morning, let courage rise in your spirit, like a fire that cannot be quenched. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward with trust in God. Bills may still arrive, deadlines may still approach, but courage allows you to face them without panic. Courage reminds you that God is bigger than every demand. Walk today with courage as your shield. Beloved, peace is flowing into your heart like a river that cannot be stopped, silencing every anxious thought. This peace does not come from solved problems, but from the presence of Christ dwelling within you. The Spirit is calming the storm of fear, reminding you that you are never alone. Carry this peace with you into every meeting, every responsibility, every moment. Peace will guide your steps today. Gratitude is your gateway into joy, beloved, and joy is the strength that sustains you through difficulty. Begin this morning by thanking God for what you already have. Thank Him for His presence, His provision, and His promises. Gratitude multiplies blessings, and shifts your focus from lack to abundance. Choose thanksgiving, and joy will follow. Beloved, remember that your identity is not defined by debt, but by love. You are not a sum of numbers or balances, but a child of the King. The enemy seeks to label you by lack, but God calls you chosen, loved, and free. Your worth is eternal, secured by the blood of Christ. Stand tall in this truth today. Every challenge is an opportunity for God's glory to shine through your life, beloved. What feels like an obstacle is actually the platform for His miracle. He delights in making a way where none exists. Do not despair over closed doors, because He is opening new ones that no one can shut. Trust His hand to guide you into victory. Beloved, the Spirit of God is closer to you than your breath, and His nearness is your greatest treasure. You are not walking into this day alone, but surrounded by His love and power. His presence is enough to silence fear and replace it with confidence. Carry Him with you like a shield. In His presence, lack loses its voice. Your journey is not wasted, beloved, because every struggle is shaping your faith and deepening your dependence on God. The lessons you are learning now will prepare you for greater responsibility in the future. What feels like breaking is actually building. God is crafting strength in you that will last a lifetime. Trust the process, because it is working for your good. Beloved, let hope be the anchor of your soul today, steadying you when doubts arise. Hope declares that tomorrow will not look like today. Hope believes that freedom is coming and provision is near. Let hope guide your thoughts and calm your heart. Carry it with you as a light through the darkness. Even now, God is aligning opportunities and orchestrating connections that will lead to breakthrough. What you cannot see yet is already taking shape. His hand is arranging people, places, and resources for your deliverance. Do not doubt because you cannot yet perceive it. Believe that heaven is moving in your favor. Beloved, joy is your weapon against despair, and laughter is a declaration of victory. Choose joy today, even in small ways, because it confuses the enemy and strengthens your soul. Joy is not denial, but faith in God's sovereignty. Smile, sing, and rejoice, because joy is your inheritance. Carry it boldly into the day. Your declaration today carries power, beloved. So speak with faith. God, I trust you with my debts, my finances, and my future. Say it boldly, believe it deeply, and let it shape your steps. Words create atmosphere, and heaven responds to words filled with faith. Speak life into your situation until your heart overflows with confidence. This is your anthem of trust. Beloved, let your heart be filled with rest today, because striving cannot accomplish what surrender will. Rest does not mean doing nothing but trusting completely in the one who does everything perfectly. In rest, your mind clears, your spirit strengthens, and your peace deepens. Choose rest over panic. Trust that God has already gone before you. Beloved, walk into this day with courage, gratitude, peace, and faith, knowing that the Lord is fighting for you. You are not alone and you are not forgotten. The God who loves you is also the God who provides for you. Freedom is not just coming, it is already unfolding. This morning marks another step toward your breakthrough. Beloved, as this morning unfolds, let your soul rest in the truth that your God is not only the creator of heaven and earth, but also the keeper of your daily needs. He has already secured the resources you require before you even ask. His hands are not empty, and His promises are not weak. Every detail of your life is under His watchful care. You are safe in the provision of His love. Even when deadlines shout and balances threaten to overwhelm, God's word is louder, promising peace that passes understanding. His peace is not fragile, but unshakable, shielding your heart against despair. He has promised never to leave you nor forsake you, and that promise is stronger than fear. You can rest knowing He is near. Carry this peace like armor as you step into today. Beloved, understand that God is transforming your mindset, lifting you from the valley of lack into the mountain of abundance. He is teaching you to see with eyes of faith rather than fear. Faith opens doors that logic cannot. Fear paralyzes, but faith propels you forward. Choose faith today, and you will walk in freedom. The Spirit of God is reminding you that every prayer you pray carries eternal weight and power. Your words rise before His throne, and heaven responds in ways beyond your understanding. None of your petitions are wasted. Each one is recorded, treasured, and honored. Even when you do not see results, know that God is moving. Persistence in prayer builds breakthroughs unseen. Beloved, the Lord is not only canceling debts, but also giving you wisdom to walk in lasting freedom. Abundance without wisdom fades, but provision guided by His Spirit endures. He is shaping you into a steward who reflects His kingdom values. Stewardship is not bondage, but freedom, because it anchors blessings securely. Receive His wisdom as part of your breakthrough. Gratitude continues to be your key into greater blessings, beloved. Thank Him for what He has done, what He is doing, and what He will do. Gratitude multiplies joy and shifts your perspective from scarcity to sufficiency. It aligns your spirit with heaven's abundance. Begin and end this day with thanksgiving, and watch doors of favor open. Beloved, do not let shame or guilt weigh you down, because they are tools of the enemy meant to keep you bound. Your mistakes do not define you. God's mercy does. He has already forgiven and redeemed you. Stand boldly in His grace, knowing that His love covers every weakness. You are free from condemnation in Christ. The Lord is assuring you that your testimony is being written even in this very moment. What feels like a battle will soon become a victory story. Others will see your deliverance and be encouraged to trust God. Your journey is not just about you, but about glorifying Him. Every struggle is becoming a testimony of His faithfulness. Beloved, hope is the anchor that will carry you through storms of uncertainty, steadying your heart when waves of fear rise. Hope reminds you that this season is temporary, but God's promises are eternal. Without hope, despair takes root. But with hope, faith flourishes. Hold on to hope as a lifeline. It will guide you safely into freedom. The Spirit is filling you with courage this morning, courage to face responsibilities without dread and to walk boldly into the future. Courage is born not from self-confidence, but from trust in God's power. Bills and deadlines lose their grip when courage rises. You can stand tall knowing the Lord fights for you. Courage is your inheritance today. Beloved, joy is your strength, and it does not depend on circumstances, but on His presence within you. Choose joy today as an act of faith. Joy silences despair and strengthens your heart for the journey. Smile, rejoice, and declare victory even before it arrives. Joy is a weapon the enemy cannot steal. Every obstacle in your path is also an opportunity for God's glory to be revealed. What looks like a barrier is a platform for His miracle. He delights in making a way where none exists. Do not let obstacles discourage you. Instead, see them as invitations for God to show His power. Beloved, remember that God is the one who opens doors no one can shut. Closed doors are often His protection, guiding you toward better opportunities. Do not fear rejection or delay. Trust His timing and His plan. The right door will open, and when it does, no one can close it. God is assuring you that provision is already in motion, though unseen to your eyes. Angels are working, resources are aligning, and favor is being released. You may not see the pieces yet, but they are falling into place. Trust that His hand is orchestrating every detail. Your deliverance is nearer than you know. Beloved, rest is also part of your breakthrough, for striving cannot achieve what surrender will. Rest in His promises, and let your heart be still. Rest does not mean passivity, but trust. When you rest in Him, your spirit strengthens, your peace deepens, and your vision clears. Rest is your refuge today. The Lord is lifting your perspective from despair to expectation. Do not focus on what you lack, but on what He is about to release. Expectation prepares you to receive. When your heart expects, your spirit aligns with His promises. Live today in holy expectation of breakthrough. Beloved, let your declaration this morning be filled with boldness. God, I trust you with my debts, my finances, and my future, for you are faithful. Speak it aloud until your heart fully believes. Words of faith shape the atmosphere and open the way for miracles. Do not let fear dictate your speech. Let faith be your anthem today. As you step into this day, walk with confidence, peace, and joy, knowing that your God is fighting for you. His love surrounds you, His provision sustains you, and His presence strengthens you. You are not abandoned, but cherished. Every step you take is covered by grace. Breakthrough is on its way, and freedom is your portion. Beloved, as the dawn rises, let your heart be still, and know that the God who spoke the universe into existence is speaking life into your finances right now. His voice carries authority over debt, lack, and fear, and no power of darkness can resist His word. You are not waking up abandoned, but embraced by His presence. His promises are alive and active in you. This morning is a holy invitation to trust Him completely. The Lord reminds you that His plans for you are good, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, to give you a future filled with hope. Though the enemy has tried to convince you that there is no way forward, heaven declares that your path is clear. Chains are breaking even as you pray. Doors of provision are opening before you. You are stepping into a season of divine favor. Beloved, every tear you cried has been collected, and every prayer you whispered has been heard. God is faithful to honor your persistence, and the evidence of His goodness will be undeniable. What once weighed you down will soon be a testimony of His strength. You will not only walk free, but help others believe in His delivering power. Your journey will glorify His name. This morning, peace flows like a river into your heart, silencing fear and calming anxiety. Bills may still sit on the table, but the weight they carried is lifting. You no longer walk in despair, but in hope. God is greater than every demand that presses against you. Peace is your portion, and nothing can take it away. Beloved, joy is rising within you like sunlight breaking through clouds. Joy declares victory even before the battle is finished. Joy strengthens you to endure, rejoice, and believe. Joy is not denial, but confidence in God's faithfulness. This joy will carry you through today. God is reminding you that you are not defined by debt, but by love, and His love is everlasting and unfailing. You are not the sum of your struggles, but the reflection of His grace. His love cannot be measured by money or diminished by lack. Nothing you face can separate you from His love. Stand boldly today in this truth. Beloved, hope anchors your soul in this season, steadying you when waves of fear rise. Hope assures you that tomorrow will not mirror today's struggles. Hope sings of victory even in the valley. Hope proclaims that the best is yet to come. Carry hope like a flame that cannot be extinguished. Every challenge you endure is also shaping your character, preparing you for abundance that will last. Lessons learned in lack will protect you in overflow. God wastes nothing. Even your pain becomes preparation. What feels like breaking is actually building. You are being equipped for greater things. Beloved, heaven is aligning people, resources, and opportunities for your good even now. The pieces are falling into place, though you cannot yet see them. Divine connections are forming, and unexpected provision is on its way. Do not doubt because of what you cannot perceive. Trust that God is orchestrating every detail. Gratitude opens your heart wider to receive, beloved. So let thanksgiving pour from your lips today. Thank Him for what He has done, what He is doing, and what He will do. Gratitude shifts your focus from scarcity to sufficiency. Gratitude is the language of abundance. Begin and end this day with thanksgiving. Beloved, courage is being poured into your spirit like fire, strengthening you to face responsibilities without dread. Courage is not about having no fear, but about walking in faith despite it. With courage, you can step boldly into today's tasks. With courage, you will not shrink before challenges. Courage is your inheritance in Christ. The Spirit of God is surrounding you now with wisdom to make decisions that secure your future. Wisdom is as much a gift as provision, because it sustains blessings over time. Listen closely for His voice guiding your steps. He is directing you toward open doors. Follow with obedience, and freedom will last. Beloved, remember that God is the one who opens doors no one can shut, and when He opens, no man can close. Do not be discouraged by rejection or delay. Closed doors are often His protection. The right door will open at the right time. Trust His perfect timing and walk with expectation. Your declaration today carries power. God, I trust you with my finances, my debts, and my future, for you are faithful. Speak it until your heart believes it fully. Heaven honors bold words of faith. Let your spirit align with your confession. Freedom begins with what you declare. Beloved, rest is also part of your blessing. For striving cannot accomplish what surrender will. Rest in His promises, knowing He is in control. Rest renews your mind, strengthens your spirit, and deepens your peace. Do not fight battles that belong to Him. Choose rest and let Him carry the weight. Even now, the Spirit is lifting your chin so that you may see beyond the weight of debt to the joy of deliverance. You are not forgotten or forsaken. His eyes are on you with love. His hand is moving for you, even in silence. Lift your head and walk in confidence. Beloved, the story of your life will not end in lack, but in testimony. What once felt impossible will soon be the evidence of God's miraculous power. Your journey will inspire others who struggle. Your victory will glorify His name. You are stepping into freedom. Finally, as this prayer closes, receive the blessing of peace, the covering of love, and the promise of provision that comes only from God. You are free, you are chosen, and you are secure in His hands. Step into this day with faith that He has gone before you. Let your heart be full of trust, joy, and courage. Amen.